Happy Tuesday, Land Golf Academy members and guests, and today we're going to be taking a look at a bird's eye view of the great Jack Nicklaus, Rory McIlroy, and we got a little bonus at the very end. Tiger's Eye of the Tiger camera from 17, 18 years ago. Yes, it was probably filmed with the potato, but it still gives you an idea of what actually occurs in Tiger's swing. And it's not really what I thought it was. It was actually pretty cool to watch. And for those of you on this screenshot, thank you so much for your support. If you want to support our channel, please do. 99 cents every month. It goes straight to the Hillerhood children in Cape Flats, South Africa, to get them into golf. And I do this for fun. I don't need to make a living out of this. This is something on my spare time I try and do to help you, the viewer, understand more about cause and effect of the golf swing and understand there's no such thing as a quick fix in the golf swing. But let's get started today, and we're going to be talking about the bird's eye view camera, not utilized as much as it should do, and this will help you understand where you need to be connected and what checkpoints you need to look for your connection. Now, obviously, we don't have the ability to have a camera sitting on top of us unless you got some Home Depot supplies. You want to make some sort of ladder system. I don't know if the range will let you do that, but go ahead and give it a try. But don't tell them I told you that, because I might get the bill. But what we're going to look for is, where do you need to stay connected at what points in your golf swing, specifically from impact to post-impact, and this is going to help you hit more solid golf shots overall. Now, keep in mind that amateurs are different than professionals. They are not as flexible, they are not as strong, they're not as talented, they don't have the hand-eye coordination that they do. So when you are looking at these swings, you've got to kind of take a generation or two back and put it in your ideas and your swings, because you can't swing like them, or else you'd be on TV and I'd be talking about your swing as opposed to these people's swings. But what we're going to look at is, where is this club parallel to his target, and then how do we relate that back to his chest? So I drew this rudimentary, is that a word? Elementary, rudiment, whatever it is, but you know what I mean. I drew this circle as best I could to follow the club path. Now we're going to take a idea of where that club is pointing at his targets. I'm going to get a rough idea about his foot line. So we're going to draw this in red right there. So we're going to look at, there's the line where it is straight as his target, right? And we are also going to draw where his connection is on his triangle. So we can see with Jack, he was not as connected early on because he pulled the club inside while he was turning. Some of our modern day players hold on to that club while their body turns and they stay connected right away, and that increases their turn. So Jack was still very flexible, very strong, but he got his turn more at the top of his swing. So we're going to erase that triangle just so we don't confuse things too much, and we're going to go where the club is now parallel at the top right there. Now this is not his top of the swing, it is just basically parallel lines. Why are we doing that in green? Let's do this in red, and let's do one more frame there. So there is close to that parallel again. And now let's take a look at his triangle, and we'll probably see it's getting a little bit more connected. So there is his left and right, and now we see that triangle is getting more connected as newer players connect right away. Jack connected more at the top, but this is not where his swing stopped. Let's take a look at this extra motion that Jack had right there. So you see that? That's that flying right elbow. This is another gear that if you can time it, you can add 10, 15, 20 yards. I don't want to say straight. You're probably 10, 15, 20 yards in the bushes or somebody's pool if we do this. But Jack had the timing of a god, and he was able to time this little extra motion down through impact at tour level quality. But this will now, you can see him pull away from his triangle and closer to his right side. So if we redraw that triangle, now he's connected on his right shoulder, and from there he basically turns through, and now he has to reconnect down. But let's take a look at where he does this. Now remember, for us amateurs, we don't want to add any sort of extra leverage like Jack did. We don't want to get our arms to cross to the right side like these guys and girls do. Now granted, it might help you swing inside to out if you don't have the turn. So if you're not capable of turning, you're very tight, you don't spend a lot of time stretching, Yes, you need to get those hands to pull back because that's the only way to get the club back there. But now you're going to suffer because A, you're going to lose distance, and B, it's going to be very flashy at impact, and your ball flight's going to be all over the place. So if you want to increase your ball consistency, you've got to be a little bit more connected. But let's keep going through, and we're going to redraw where that club is parallel again, and we can see now it's crossed back to the right side as he gets down. Right when the club is parallel on the ground, right there, okay? So now let's redraw this one, and we can see a couple things happening here. You notice how it is parallel closer to the golf ball. So basically what he's doing is he's holding on to that angle. Now, if you can hold on to the angle, the closer you become to this golf ball here. Now, what happens when you compress the amount of energy in the same surface area? You create a lot of flash impact speed. You create a lot of compression at the golf ball. And this is what compression is called. It's not about how you hit the ball hard. It's where do you compress your alignment? Where do you compress your angle into it? And the more you can compress it, the more potential power you have. And you compress to the center of the core and the ball just goes away, which is why sometimes you need a higher compression golf ball to be able to compress to the center, and it only benefits those with higher club head speeds. But let's take a look at where his connection is. So now if we redraw his triangle, we'll see that his connection, there is one shoulder, there is two shoulders, there's his hands. Where's his triangle? It's connected. And as we go through, now let's take a look as he strikes a golf ball. When it gets that parallel line right there, we can see now. Let's take a look at where that red line is. It is pretty close to where the other red line is. And let's redraw his triangle. And let's see, there's one shoulder, there's two shoulders, there's those hands. Guess where they are? They are still in front of the chest. So you had better, by the time your club reaches impact parallel to your target, pointing to your target, by the time it gets there, you better be connected. If you're not connected, you're going to be flipping and dipping and chopping and breaking ankles and killing squirrels and putting eyeballs out. That's one thing you don't want to do. So I thought this would be kind of cool to look at, but let's take a look at big Rory McIlroy, and let's take a look at the same situation here, and let's go all the way down to when he's actually hitting the golf ball, because this one's a little bit funky. So let's do the same lines and let's see where he gets connected. So initially we're probably going to see a little bit more connection than we did with Jack. So right there is about where that is parallel. Okay, and I know we got this blurriness, but hey, we gotta, there's no high-tech gadgetry here at the Lion Golf Academy. We just get with what we're given and figure it out. So we see that this is a little bit more connected than we saw Jack. Now this is more upper body turning together to allow that to stay connected. Now let's go all the way until the club is parallel at the top, and it's right there. Look at that. He stops turning when the club is parallel at the top, which is pretty cool. But what you'll notice is he is now disconnected from his center. He is more connected to his right side, which is good. They can get away with it because they have the timing and talents to do this. Now, the reason I'm saying this is there. So now we see that it's connected to the right side. Now, the reason we're saying this is, remember, the top of the swing to impact occurs in 0.2 seconds. So if you have to now get your hands to cross to be in front of your chest in 0.2 seconds while you're turning and tilting and getting your hands out in front, for the amateur golfers that play once in a blue moon, when I turn to be a Wolverine because I only get to play at moonlight once a month, then it's hard for me to time. So just take this with what I'm trying to give it to you is try and simplify your motions. Now let's go all the way down to where that club is parallel. You can see right about there. Yes, man, it's in between these two frames. Let's take a look here. And there's about where that club is parallel. And guess where do you think his hands are? Connected. Bam. So by the time you get your club to parallel towards impact, you had better be connected to the center of your chest, or else game's over. Now let's take a look as he strikes the golf ball. There is parallel again. It happened pretty quickly. And where is his hands? Still connected to the center of the chest. And if we go through right there, it's pretty close to being parallel again. And where is it? It is connected right to the center of the chest. That's the secret. When the club is parallel to the target at impact, you had better be connected. If you are not, you have to look at why you are not. Are you not flexible? Are you trying to cram a golf swing into something that shouldn't be crammed there? Do you need to keep your hands connected because of a physical limitation? You need to work with a golf coach. That's basically what it comes down to, because they will figure out how to get you connected sooner or keep you connected longer or don't disconnect you at all. I've had some students where I don't disconnect them at all. Their swing is about 2 foot on the way back and they still hit the ball pretty consistently. They sacrifice some distance, but they get this golf ball to be fairly straight most of the time, a la Mo Norman. Take a look at his swing and see what I mean. But let's take a look at this bonus round, bonus time, and this was definitely filmed with the potato. But what I want you to look at is, I don't know what type of shot Tiger's playing here, but clearly it's some sort of shot with some flavor on it, because if you take a look at where that club face is, it is slightly open. I'm not sure if he's doing a little stinger cut or whatever it is, but what I want you to look at is where that club initially moves backwards. And you can see that club. If we draw there, club is slightly opening up, but it's square to his chest, which is great. But it's moving at that circle. So there's, for those of you that think that you need to take that club straight back and straight through, just turn, man. You don't have to disconnect your hands and arms by doing that. But what I wanted you to watch is take a look at the head. Right, so we see the head's moving. Now remember, this is on a hat, so the head's going to move, but his eyeballs are still watching that. So it gives it a little bit of a weird feeling here. But watch from this point on. Watch the camera stop here. Look, right there. See how the camera stops? And what's happening? Where's his head going? It's staying behind and even falling back as he strikes the ball. And that is an iron. So do we need to get all this stacked on the left side and swing through? Hey, man, we have one of the best ball strikers that ever lived. Look at this motion again. We're going to look at the head. It's going to stop there. And it stays back there and actually starts to close a little bit as he strikes the golf ball. That was actually pretty cool for me to watch. It was a little bit unusual. I wasn't expecting that. But yes, it makes a lot of sense. So once you get your centeredness there, just keep your centeredness there, even stay back. Look at that camcorder. I used to give lessons with camcorders. I was the only pro up there with a full-fledged camcorder. Got the wires everywhere, put the tape in. When you finish, come on, let's go. And you got to go hide in the sun and use your markers to draw on the TV screen. Hey, different times. Hope that helps you. I'll see you again tomorrow. Fairways and greens. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, share. Thanks a lot.